So, now the stock's trading at €5. We now have a call option. So Ari and I wrote another contract, and Ari gave me the right to call stock from him at a strike price of €7. So the stock's currently trading at €5 again. I pay Ari 25 cents for that. The stock does phenomenal. Goes to €10. What happens?
You
can
call
still
Ari
buy it at
and
7.
you take your call and you pay him only $5. I'm sorry, €7 a stock, and he has to let you buy it even though it's trading at 10.
Exactly.
But let me say something. Let's say that you change it a little bit. Let's say that you see the stock going up and up and up. It passes €7. In your mind, you might go, okay, well, I get to strike at 7, but would you not strike until 7.25? Because your break even wouldn't be until 7.25, right? Would it make sense to strike before 7.25?
We'll get there in a second. I just want to make. Is everybody good?
Can you repeat the story once again?
Yeah. So stock's currently trading at 5. I think the stock's going to do really well, so I call Ari up. We meet online, and I say, I want to buy from you the right to purchase stock at €7.
So you buy a call.
I'm buying a call from Ari. So he says, oh, that's a great idea because it's a crappy company, and so I'll sell it to you for 25 cents. I pay Ari 25 cents. I now have the option to buy that from 7 during the time frame. So it's a 6-month contract. During the next 6 months, if the stock is worth $7.50, or in this case 10, I'm going to call that stock away from Ari. So he has to go get shares. He has to go buy shares on the market for €10 in this case. Turn around and sell them to me for 7 if I exercise.
So you have to pay 7 plus 120?
Yeah.
I'm paying Ari 25 cents for the right to buy the stock from him at 7 in the next 6 months.
So you don't pay 7 now?
I don't pay 7 now. If I decide I want to do that because it's at 10, I call Ari and I say, I want to pay you €7 for that stock right now. He has to go buy it for 10. He has to go buy it for 10 and then sell it to me for 7. So he's going to lose €3 on that. Yes.
2.75.
Yeah.
I buy something at fixed price and it's still cheaper than the market price. I gain something, right?
Buy a call.
Depends on call.
Yeah, I'm buying a call.
In this
Buying a
case,
call.
So, question.
Yeah.
In this case, the stock
I lost.
did better.
Yeah.
But
I
why would Ari go for the call if you have the right to exercise it at any point? Because you would have exercised if the stock price went up.
If the fixed
Right.
price is
So
more
again,
expensive,
they're
what's the
priced
purpose
because
of
these have termination
call
dates. So
option?
they only last 6 months, a year. It's priced so that, in all reality, Ari's going to keep his 25 cents because in the next 6 months,
There's no purpose for
it's priced that the risk that he is paying and the risk that I'm paying, the premium between us, he's probably going to keep his 25 cents and I'm going to get nothing. So if it only goes to $6.99 or 7, I don't get anything out of it. I paid him 25 cents for that, right? I get nothing. My option expires worthless. If at 6 months and 1 day it goes from 7
Call, right?
to 10,
This is cost.
I get nothing. Ari's out nothing.
Where is the put option in this?
There's no put. So calls are completely separate from puts. They're not together.
Can you understand this?
Unlike his graph. Yes.
Put option, you own the share, and the call option,
There's no shares that are actually owned here. These are just rights. These are just options. Not rights, but options.
so you say right to sell, so what are you selling?
The put, I could either have the stock already, I could speculate that that stock is going down.
So that means you have the stock, right?
I might not have the stock. I could say, in our case earlier where it's trading at 30 and I see that it's at 1870, it should be trading at 1870. Maybe I would call and buy, maybe I would get online and buy a 25 euro put. I don't have the stock.
And when it goes down,
And if
you
it goes
buy
below
it and
25,
sell it
then
for
I
high.
made money.
Okay.
That's what the graphs were suggesting.
So, now we'll go to, there's the other side of these. That's Ari's side. So Ari might sell me the call because he owns the stock. So let's say this is on Microsoft. So Ari owns 100 shares of Microsoft. It's trading at 30. Yeah, per share. Strikes at 35. I pay Ari 30 cents for that.
So what's the strike?
The strike is the exercise price. The option price. So Microsoft's trading at 30. Ari owns 100 shares of Microsoft. And he says in the next 6 months, he'd be willing to pay, or he'd be willing to sell those shares for $35 a share, 35 euros a share. Well, on top of that, he's not sure if he really wants to sell them, and he can make 30 cents by selling me the right to buy them at 35. And we call this a covered call. So Ari has the stock. He's going to sell the calls, so he is required to sell me the stock at 35 if it gets there, but he already has the shares. This is the most common option strategy out there.
And why do people go, why would Ari put it, if he's not sure he wants to sell the shares, is it strictly just to sell off your grandmother, you just want to make that 30 cents a share? I mean,
So,
is that...
If I can make so I'm saying my break-even analysis on Microsoft says if I get $35 out of it, I did a great job, I made money. But on top of that, if it doesn't get there, that's fine, I'm going to take the 30 cents.
Yeah.
Maybe this is for a 3-month period of time. Well, if I do this 3, 4, 5 times before it actually hits, I made an extra $1.52 per share, and my return went from 10% to 20%.
Can I kind of have it in my head that I would set the strike price to as high as I would sell the stock anyway? If it went up enough, I would have one point in time where I think, okay, this is not too risky for me to expect it to go up more. It could
The
go
strike
down.
price is kind of your expectation of what you need for the to consider that you've done a good job.
Yeah, when
right?
you're selling time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then you just have a premium on top, which is really cool.
I could also the stock's trading at 30. I could sell Ari, or Ari would sell me the right to buy it at 29. He already knows that he's going to have to get rid of his stock for 29. But if I pay him $4.30 for it, well, it's like he got 33 out of his Microsoft. Again, these are all strategies. This is a covered call, and it's the most common strategy out there. Is this helping explain options, or is this making it more difficult?
So, Ari is thinking the same thing, what you did in the last scenario, but this share.
Yeah. So Ari is still selling me the option. I still have the choice to exercise or not. He doesn't. If I choose to exercise, he has to do it. If I choose not to, he can't force me to. So it's only my option. But he might do this. What if he thinks Microsoft's going to go down to 29? Well, if he thinks Microsoft's going to go down to 29, and I don't exercise it before it gets to 29, well, he's got his $4.30 that I paid him for that, right? But then he doesn't even have to give me shares.
But Ari would go for this case, so why would you go in this case?
If I think Microsoft's going to 40,
Oh, to 40, yeah, go to 29.
I just spent €4. So my return, instead of going out and buying the stock, 30 to 40 is 22% rate of return, 4 euros to get that, that's a 80% rate of return.
Because you think that's going to go to 40, but ours ends on, so it's a big.
Yeah, these numbers are a little bit inflated, but this is, in concept, this is how it works.
Yeah.
So then, the put is, Ari might think it's not going to get there. You can also be short stock. Does everybody know what being short a position is?
No.
Okay.
I know what's being short.
Yeah. So we say both long and short when we talk about positions in stocks, bonds, commodities, options. If you're long something, I think the long came from the usage of short, but long means I own it. Being short, long means I own it. If I'm long a position, I own that position. If I'm short, I think where it came from, don't quote me on this, but it makes sense and it works for the analogy. If I bought 100 shares throughout the day, I start at 0, I buy 100 shares. I get to the end of the day and I've sold 200 shares. All of a sudden somebody's looking at that balance sheet and saying, oh, you're actually short. So it means that I've sold more, or that I've sold more shares than I actually have. So being short a position means I've sold it, but I didn't have the shares.
So is your only option at that point then to go out and buy the shares that you're short?
In case the
But you don't have to do that right away.
Yeah.
So if I want to go short a stock, I think Microsoft's going from 30 to 20. So I could sell you my Microsoft shares at 30, but I don't have any. I have 0 shares. I can sell you 100 shares of Microsoft that I don't have. I'm going to borrow them from somebody and sell them to you. Then if it goes to 20, I can then go buy them. So it's a reverse transaction. So I'm going to cover my short position at that point. Does that make sense?
You're borrowing it from someone.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have it.
I don't have the 100 shares. I'm borrowing from somebody else. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go buy them and return them to whoever I borrowed them.
What do you mean by borrowing? Because do you have to show that you have those stocks?
All the legislation is coming in on short selling. You can't naked short sell. It means you have to be able to go buy the shares from somebody.
Somebody has to assure that there are some stocks available.
Yeah, somebody has to say, okay, you can borrow my shares in order for me to actually sell them before I buy them back.
Okay, but no financial transaction takes place. You don't pay that person anything.
I don't pay that person anything. What's going to happen is, I say I want to short 100 shares of Microsoft. I don't have any shares, and it's trading at $30 a share. I short it, somebody's going to put $3,000 in my account.
Jared, it's a practical question. If you do put or call, you're charged a premium. Is there any agreement about how much quantity or how much share do you buy?
On the premium for an option?
Yeah.
Let me get there in just 1 second. Let me finish short.
Okay.
So I get $3,000 put in my account. If Microsoft does go to 20, maybe 6 months down the road, I can then go out and buy those shares of Microsoft. I'm going to have to take $2,000 out of my account to go buy that. So if somebody put $3,000 in my account because I sold them short, I then go buy for $2,000. I'm now at a net position of 0, but I made $1,000 doing it.
But you'd also have to pay the person that's borrowing, right? Because he's taking kind of you can't sell it at that time.
It's interest is what you're paying that person, and it's called margin.
Can you explain where this 3,000 came from?
The 3,000 came from I sold the shares. So I sold them to somebody. I borrowed them from somebody and I sold them to you. You bought them just as if you bought them normally. So I got paid $3,000 to sell you those shares. At some point, I actually have to pay back the shares that I borrowed. And I'm being charged interest on that.
That's not options, right? We're talking
That's
about
not
shares.
options. That's just being short a position. So I can be short a commodity, I can be short a stock, I can be short a bond. Basically what it's saying is I think it's going down.
Okay.
I'm on the selling side before I buy.
And these transactions can be done online as well?
Yes.
Individual investor can also do that.
You have to have a margin account, so you have to have the ability to borrow money against your account. You can't just have $0 in your account and say, I'm going to sell this stock and take 3,000 and yeah.
So there is a contract for that you're borrowing and you're signing a contract and you're selling it and
Yeah, there's no contract on the transaction. There's just a contract for me to be able to borrow money from against my account. So maybe I have 100 shares of Apple, and that's my collateral for my selling my 300 shares of Microsoft.
You what?
Collateral. Collateral is it's equity that you're giving up. If I default on my loan, they're going to take that from me.
Like your backup, sort of.
Yeah, it's my backup.
So let's say you and I are friends. I wake up in the morning and I go, wow, the Microsoft is trading at 30. I feel pretty confident it's going to keep going down. It's going to go down to 20. I wish I had some shares to sell or to short sell, but I don't have them. I call you because I know you have them. Jared, I'm going to buy whatever, how many shares. And then I turn around and short sell them for 20. Or do I short sell them?
So you're just borrowing them from me? You're not buying them from me. You're just borrowing them from me. And it's all done through a brokerage. You actually have to find somebody. You just go in and short sell them. Basically, if you have stocks in an account, you're offering those up to allow other people to borrow them unless you specifically say they can't. The brokerage is going to let other people borrow your shares. They're just not going to necessarily tell you about that.
From one who are borrowing, he's not into the picture of any kind. I mean, no profit and no loss for him.
For the person that the shares are being borrowed from? Yeah, they don't even know.
The interest is for the broker.
Yeah, so the broker is going to take all the risk if somebody defaults. You're not taking any risk. It's just those shares exist. You can't just sell shares that don't exist is really what the...
So if the other person would sell it